What up, folks? This episode of the Smoking Tire Podcast is brought to you by HelloFresh. HelloFresh is different from those other services that send food to your house. Here's what HelloFresh does. They deliver you fresh, delightful, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes every week, right? And for people like me, I like to cook. I take pride in my cooking. You know, I like to cook from scratch. I like to cook with really fresh ingredients. But when it's just me and my wife, I often have excess leftovers. I'm not even really into leftovers. There's waste, and the trips to the store can be annoying. Plus, you can get stuck in these ruts where you get really good at making 5 or 6 things, and then you just rotate through those things instead of coming up with new, delicious, inspiring recipes. And that's really what I like about HelloFresh. There's so much less food waste because I'm not buying all this food and then only cooking for 2 people. There's new inspiring recipes that I can choose from all the time, and then I make them. And then so once I make the HelloFresh recipe, I can then keep that recipe and, you know, bank it for later and either order more ingredients from HelloFresh or multiply the recipe and serve that dish, you know, at a party later and say, I came up with it, make myself sound like a genius. HelloFresh's ingredients, they're sourced from growers, delivered from the farm to your front door in under a week. That's as good as any grocery store you're going to find. And HelloFresh was named Newsweek's most trusted meal kit company of 2021 with over 4 million households served. Last time HelloFresh advertised with us, I continued the plan on my own because I liked it so much. The food was great. My wife loved it. And we ended up making exactly the right amount of food for dinner every night. There was no food waste, and it was great. So go to HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire12. Smoking Tire and then the number 12. And then once you're there, use code SmokingTire12 again for 12 free meals, including free shipping. 12 free meals. It's like most of a week for you and a spouse. I mean, it's great. It's free food. Who doesn't like free, fresh food? It gets like an entire free load of groceries delivered to you. HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire12, the number 12, and then use code SmokingTire12 again, all right? HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit for a reason, and you can get 12 free meals to figure that one out. We are also brought to you by Raycon. These guys sent me the coolest little earbuds, and I'm so happy to be promoting them because I've never really been into the wireless earbuds before, and with the Raycons, I've been getting into it, and I don't know if I can ever go back. I'm back to traveling. I went to my first press launch again. I'm on flights. I'm on the road, and I'm listening to podcasts, music, and books, and a pair of Raycon earbuds really makes a difference. You get crisp, powerful beats, half the price of other premium audio brands. The Raycons look great. They feel even better. They come in a bunch of different colors, and they have a package of different size customizable gel tips, so they fit perfectly in a whole bunch of different types of ears. Raycons are built to go wherever you go, wherever I go, with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. It was a USB-C charge, charged up really fast, and the battery lasts 24 hours on standby or 6 hours on chatting or playing. And I mean, look, they're light, they're portable, they look cool, they match my outfit, and they're easy for your lifestyle and to get a good custom fit in your ear. And so I've been a wire guy, honestly. I've been sticking with the wire, but the battery life on these is great. They're light, and Raycons, I think they got me converted. They do. And Raycon's offering 15% off their products for Smoking Tire listeners. Here's what you got to do. Go to buyraycon.com, and that's RAYCON, buyraycon.com/smoking. Go to buyraycon.com/smoking, and you'll get 15% off your entire Raycon order. It's a great deal. You're going to want to grab a pair and a spare. 15% off your entire order at buyraycon.com/smoking, and that's buyraycon.com/smoking. And of course, my favorite people in the ganja game. Tradecraft Farms, bringing it to the streets. Not really the streets, actually. Bringing it to like really high-end retail locations where people pay taxes and things like that. It's legal. California, very civilized. The rest of the world is catching on, but we're really doing it down here. And Tradecraft Farms is the best THC and CBD edibles, vapables, smokables, aerosolables, you name it. They got some funky stuff. 24 karat gold joints. I was like passing out 24 karat gold joints the other night, and people looked at me like I had 3 heads. It was awesome because you can't, we're not passing. We're hanging out outside these days, right? But we're not passing joints. So you got to bring one for you and then bring one for everybody else. So when I busted out a 6-pack of gold Tradecraft Farms joints, it was pretty cool. I was the man. If you're not in California and you can't get this kind of stuff legit, just give them a follow on Instagram, Tradecraft Farms. Tell them your boy Matt Farah sent you. Keep this hilarious sponsorship train rolling. All right, on this episode of the Smoking Tire Podcast, Dan Prosser of The Intercooler is calling in from the UK. Good news. The homie has a much better internet connection than his pal Andrew Frankel from the other week, and we have a great chat about how Dan got into the business, some of his great auto journalist stories, including taking a Corvette to the 24 Hours of Le Mans at just 21 years old. We talk about the new GT3, some of our other favorite and not so favorite things that are going on in the car world right now, and take some of your questions. Make sure to download the Intercooler app on the iOS and Apple stores and the Android stores, and enjoy this chat with Dan Prosser of the Intercooler on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Mark it. It's the show. Dan Prosser of the Intercooler is on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Hello.
Hello. How you doing, Matt? How you doing, Zach? All good?
Oh, man. Vaxxed up. Ready to go. It's fun times.
Oh, nice.
Going to the first... my first public event tomorrow. I'm going to a private Christian James Hand session, which is like a music thing. Everyone's got to show their Vax cards. It's like one of those deals.
Yeah. So when did you get your Vax? What, this week?
No. Like second one was like 2 weeks ago. So now we've hit the threshold of happy fun times.
Yeah, I haven't had one yet.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. I think we're slightly behind you guys now.
Oh boy, we hit the point where people don't want them anymore. We hit the point where everybody's got extras and they're trying to figure out how to like.
It's like Halloween candy, the day after Halloween.
Yeah, it's like a CVS on February 15th.
Did the jab make you feel bad?
No.
Like for a couple of days? Not at all.
No. My wife felt bad for 12 hours, but I felt I was fine. Yeah. Team Moderna, what up?
As soon as I'm offered one, I'm going. But
yeah,
I don't know. It does seem a little bit slow over here now.
I thought you guys would have this sorted by now. I guess not. All right. Well, yeah. Good luck. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It's good. It doesn't. I fucked myself up on the first one from anxiety about it. Your anxiety can fuck your body up. If it's strong enough. Yeah. That happened, but there were no actual physical side effects.
No, good. Okay, fine. A few people have told me that it was like having a cold for 24 hours or something, and then it's just gone.
Yeah, that was pretty much my wife's experience.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, well, I can't wait to have that jab in my arm.
Roll the dice, man. New shooter.
Yep.
It's so worth it in the comfort of like, yo, this shitty year and change is over for me. You know what I mean? It's like that thing. It's like, let's get back to our lives now. It's like, it feels really, really good to not be like, not just worried about getting sick. I'm not worried about getting sick. I'm worried about getting just sick enough to not know I'm sick and then getting somebody really sick accidentally. Yeah. And so that actually was what was stressing me out. I'm not worried about getting sick. But so not having that is good.
This is an important message, right? Because all that anti-vax stuff out there, all that disinformation, we need people like you saying, "Get your jab." It's good.
Yeah, you should get it. Do it. It makes you feel good. It does. Yeah. You don't even realize it. It makes you feel good. You're like, I don't have. It's like it means that like it's basically over. It really does. California is like about to like eliminate because we have a really high percentage of
really?
people getting. Yeah, California is like fucking crushing it right now. We were fucked in December, but we are crushing it right now. You know what else is crushing it right now? The intercooler.
Smooth.
Go get your
That's why you
shots,
had the
people,
big
please.
ones,
It's
Matt.
good for you and those around you. But let's talk about cars.
Let's talk about cars. That's what we know about.
It's going well.
It is going well. So yeah, we're 2 and a bit weeks into our launch. We launched an app. We've been doing the Instagram thing for almost 3 years. We launched an app recently. You had Andrew on. You had my friend and business partner Andrew on when
He did 2 hours of fabulous radio.
Do you know what? He's good at that stuff because his knowledge that he can just call on like that, it's all in there. If you want to know who won Le Mans in 1986, he'll just go bang, and he'll tell you about the car. He'll tell you about how they won the race, who didn't win the race, all that stuff. And it's extraordinary. And I think I feel pleased for him that he's found an outlet for it. It would be a shame and maybe unhealthy if he just had all that knowledge and nothing to do with it.
There are in this business a variety of savant-like people that are able to retain, just a crazy amount of knowledge about shit like that. Marshall Pruitt is like fucking off the chain. Hindhaugh, the F Formula, Hindhaugh, that guy. Unreal. Will Buxton. These guys can just regurgitate the stuff. They know it.
Yeah.
And
they know what
Andrew
the
Frankel
driver,
is one of those folks.
What the
too.
driver had the dinner before and why they were a little off, and then how they did and how the car was set up. It's really impressive.
Savant people.
Do you know what? What I've found is that I've always loved cars ever since I was a little kid. Love cars, love reading about them, watching about them, driving them, all that stuff, right? And I got into car journalism, and I found that I was surrounded by world champion car geeks, and they made me think, shit, am I actually not a car geek? Is that
I feel that all the time.
Yeah.
The time.
Yeah. It's really When you're at a table and it's like Jason Camisa, Tony Quiroga, and Aaron Robinson, and you're like, oh, I really don't know fucking anything about anything, do I? Fuck me.
And you're very strong in this regard. But Camisa's like, you know what foam they used?
Have you seen Camisa's
Porsche?
spreadsheet, Dan? It's fucking crazy.
No, what's on
Camisa has a spreadsheet for every car he's ever driven, and so whenever he's on the podcast, well, that's what he says.
You've done it, and you shout a number, don't you?
Yes.
He'll tell you what car it was,
and he just reviews some
drove.
random shitbox he drove 9 years ago.
That's great. I wish I'd had that foresight.
How did you actually get started writing about cars, other than being world champion car geek?
Well, I try. Do you know what? I'm just one of these guys who always knew I wanted to do it. When I was really young, I thought car design. I just thought something about cars, and I thought maybe car design was what I wanted to do. But I can't draw. It's hopeless.
It's very hard, isn't it?
Just no artistic ability in me whatsoever. And so I actually, what put me off is I was probably 15, and I did a week of what in the UK we call work experience. You know, when you're a school kid and you go into a place of work and just sort of shadow people for a week.
We call that interns, but it's more like there's more of like a slave element to it. A little bit.
Oh yeah, you're there to make cups of tea, really. Teas and coffee.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing. And I at that point quite wanted to be a car designer, and so my uncle had a contact who could get me a week's work experience, but it was in the engineering division, and I'm hopeless at maths and physics and all that stuff. So I just sat there for a week, not understanding anything that anyone was saying to me. And I was like, this isn't what I want to do at all. And so after that, I just started having to think about what else I could do. I was reading car magazines at that time. And I guess I just thought, actually, that'd be quite good fun, wouldn't it? Drive these cars, write about them. I enjoy writing. And so from like the age of 16, I just knew I wanted to do it.
Wow.
And so I didn't bother with university. I thought I could probably get there without going. And my foot in the door was doing motorsport reports.
By the way.
Well, do you know what? Sometimes I think it's not that smart because if I'd gone to uni and got a good degree like English or something, I don't know. I could have gone.
You'd be in exactly the same place you are right now.
Yeah, probably exactly.
I'm just saying. But in America, you'd be in the same place, but you'd be $200,000 in debt.
Do you know what? That is a good call because no student debt.
It's not. I'm not saying don't go to college, people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if you know you want to do the job that Dan and I and Zach have, a college degree is not necessary if you're actually good at the skills. Nobody gives a shit.
Okay, on that thread, then let me give some advice. If there is anyone out there who wants to do what we do, my in the door was motorsport reporting because everyone wants to go on a McLaren launch and drive supercars in California, all that stuff. Very few people want to go and stand at the end of a stage in the middle of a forest in Wales in December when it's raining and just hope that some of the drivers stop to talk to you because you've got to write a 1,000-word report for some motorsport newspaper. But if you can get that opportunity, go and do that, write some good stuff, get some good stuff published, you got a foot in the door. And then you can approach car magazines and say, I've done this. And then who knows?
That is a very good move. Yeah, that's a gig that people probably don't think about. And covering rally is hard. That's a hard job. Covering a fucking rally. You got to get up early. You want to be on stage. You got to get out there before the safety car and shit. You're up early.
You're fishing with no boat. You're just walking around casting lines.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. People don't want to talk to you. It's really hard. Actually, motorsport, proper motorsport journalism is a sort of vocation in its own right, isn't it? But it just worked for me. I just found it was a good way to demonstrate that I was enthusiastic, that I could write, and I loved cars. And it just meant that when there was a new magazine starting up when I was 20, I was able to apply for the job that they had going just for a junior staff writer. And because I'd done those bits and pieces of motorsport reporting, it was enough to get me that job. And I was away. Although that was at the end of 2007 when a publishing company launched a new car magazine to try and compete with Evo magazine. And then the world went into financial meltdown.
What magazine was that?
It was called Performance Car, which was a well-known magazine back in the 80s and 90s. We brought it back for a couple of years at the start of 2008. Timing was horrendous. Could not have been worse. The publishing house managed to keep it going for 2 years, and it eventually got killed, as it was always going to, given that it started in the midst of a massive financial crash, and no one was spending money on advertising, and people weren't really buying magazines. It was a disaster. There you go.
Was it good while it lasted?
It got good. Yeah. We started out, still finding our feet. 18 months in, it got good, and we were doing good stuff.
Putting magazines together, like full on magazines, is very, very hard. That is a tough job, man.
Yeah, it is. And when you're doing it with, skinny budgets and in a competitive market, it's tough. And we were a young team. I was 21 when it launched. The editor was 29. There was only 3 of us on staff. So I think we did some good stuff over those couple of years, but if it worked for me, we were a team of 3 and we were trying to compete with Evo. And so that meant at 21, I was driving supercars.
Yeah.
I took a Corvette to Le Mans, just me and the bloody reckless photographer from the magazine. And it was insane. And I just thought,
at 21,
no other magazine.
You can't even fucking rent a Corvette in America at 21.
Yeah,
you gotta be like 25 to just rent a Corvette from Hertz or Enterprise in America.
You should be 25. Honestly, it's and going to Le Mans when I'm sure you've been there on the sort of Thursday or Friday. All the roads around the track, they're just chaos, and you get stopped and there's a crowd of people and they're all English because they're idiots, or they're British at least. And they all wave you down, they flood the road, they stop you, and there's hundreds of them. And because you're in a bright yellow Corvette, you're not going to get through until you've done a massive burnout.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
This, that's actually, I'm actually proud of the English. I'm just gonna say, in that situation, go England, because what you have described is the most Jersey fucking behavior ever. You want to talk about some, like, me and my friend, Larry Casilla, Dan, the ammo guy, the crazy detailing guy.
Okay.
He's a YouTuber, and he's like one of the best detailers in the world. Anyway, we used to go to these car shows in South Jersey with our Mustangs, and that was like the MO. They surround your car, and then they have super soakers, and they spray your tires down, sometimes with water, sometimes with bleach.
Wow.
And then they surround your car, and they don't let you leave until you just do a monster brake stand. Wow. But then, as happens to me, the cops roll up on a bicycle. And they give you a ticket that's a reckless in Jersey, and it's a mandatory court appearance. But they give out hundreds of they give out hundreds of tickets on this day. So like 3 months later, when you go back and you go to court, it's like a car show in the police station parking lot. Everyone's got these hot rods and shit. And they throw out all the points. They just want your money. So they collect your fines, they throw out everybody's points.
Well, that's the state where if you pay double, your speeding ticket gets erased, right?
Oh, is it? Is that Jersey? Yeah. Jersey's really, it's really a reflection of Chris Christie, if you know that. The governor of Jersey is like a real corrupt guy.
Hang on. So when the police turn up on a bicycle, what have they got? Have they got a siren? Have they got flashing lights?
Yeah.
Has he got his helmet?
It goes whoop whoop. They've got a little siren and a fucking light. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's really lame. I wish I could say that was the only time I've been ticketed by a bicycle, but that would be a lie. I've been ticketed twice on by a bicycle. In the same car, no less.
You'd think you'd be able to outrun a bicycle, wouldn't you?
Not when you have 300 people, around the car. That's the kind of thing. It's like almost entrapment. You know what I mean?
The cop's on the most mobile solution.
Officer, I did that monstrous brake stand in the bleach puddle under duress.
I'm surprised the cop wasn't on roller skates, You can get around even quicker.
Yeah.
That's
so
fucked up.
At Le Mans.
But go England, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's actually quite good fun. So, but I've been driving those sorts of cars for 5 or 6 months, and I'm there at Le Mans, got the photographer with me, all these people crowded round, saying "burn out," chanting. They're not going to let me go. And the photographer, I just look to my side and I see him grab his camera, look at me and go, "You're going to have to do it, mate." And I've never done a burnout before.
You never done one before?
I've never done one before. I was like,
"You're going to have to do it, mate."
I just thought, okay, well, this is either how I kill someone, I'm either going to cars and coffee it into someone's legs, or I just give it full gas, dump the clutch on the brakes, and just see what happens. And of course, what you realise is that doing a burnout is really easy, isn't it? It's so straightforward. Yeah.
What year was this?
2008. So it was
was this like a fucking Z06 too? Like a big. Oh, this was like a real. I don't know why in my head, because it's not like you look old or anything, but for some reason in my head, this story takes place in like a 1994 ZR1 or like a C4. I don't know why. It's like,
I think because
so your car probably looked like the fucking race cars too, right? Like yellow with the Jake on it or something.
Yeah. So you're not getting through that crowd of people without doing something.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Actually, talking about all that stuff, and when this happened, Zach, I watched your Integra Type R video, and you said that you were driving while at school in the late 90s. I thought you were like 28.
No, I'm 38.
Zach and I are the same age. Do you know that?
Go to a 2-shot.
Zach and I are the same age. Yeah.
Well, okay.
People think he's my kid. It's fucked up.
Remember that at Lemons? Some guy asked that,
did.
And you gave him a look, and that guy left. No, he left quick. He looked at me, and he went, "I guess I'm never friends with Matt Farah," and he just walked away.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Zach's got that baby face, isn't he?
Well, Matt had more fun in high school.
High school and college really were pretty kind to me.
Yeah.
Good work. And frankly, I inherited the gray gene from my parents.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. My sister, who I was like, she escaped the gray gene, didn't she? We had a little Zoom call at the end of the pandemic. I'm like,
Nope. She did not escape the grave gene. She hasn't been dying in a while. Sorry, Lex.
She's 14. Jeez.
But fuck me, dude. Wait, to be driving supercars in magazine tests at 21 years old is crazy town. That's fucking wild. And you probably had a business card that said something like editor on it too, didn't you?
No, it said staff writer, but that business card got distributed in a lot of nightclubs when I was 21. The little town that I lived in. So here you go, you can have it. And it worked. It worked a couple of times.
Really?
You know, if it says performance car magazine, staff writer, and you're targeting 20-year-old girls, that's quite impressive.
Well, plus if you're bringing press cars home, I mean, you know, you've got, you know, it's not all talk, is it? Do you want to come check out the new Vauxhall Insignia in the driveway?
No,
that's a car, right? Did I get that right?
We were on a shoot once in like the middle of the desert, and we were at the bar because that's what we did after the shoot. And this girl's talking to me, and she goes, "What do you do?" And this is like 2010. We had no money, so I'm driving the Raptor camera car and like carrying cases. That's my job. And I go, "Well, I drive the camera car. We film videos." And she goes, "You're a race car driver?" And I say, "I swear to God, I'm race." And I go, No. You don't understand. Like, we film cars, so one car, and I explain all of it, and she goes, "You're a race car driver." She wanted to believe the
I'm
myth.
going to tell my friends that you're a race car driver. That's really funny. I once had a girl think she got into my Corvette. I had a 1998 Corvette. She got into my Corvette, which, if you've ever been in one, it says Corvette on the dashboard directly in front of the passenger seat. And she got in the car and went, "I can't believe you drive a Ferrari." It was the one and only time that car ever got me the sex. What an
you're right. So at 21, I had all these cars, and I thought I was doing really well one day to pick up this girl in a Mercedes ML63 AMG. I thought it was really cool, you know. It's worth loads of money, made a noise. Picked her up in it, picked her up from this outrageous house that she lived in with her family. Drove around, made a load of noise, drove like a complete knob. It turned out she was a massive environmentalist and she hated the car.
Do you understand how much gas he burned? All he did the whole date, all he did was burn gas. That was all he wanted to do. Do you believe that? It's crazy.
It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool, man.
Yeah, you bet wrong, brother.
Got that wrong. Well, I thought people like cars. Not all of them.
I had a press car go wrong once where I actually legitimately brought home the Brabus smart car. It was maybe my second or third press car ever. And I brought it home, and my girlfriend at the time, who was this like redheaded bartender who would like blow fireballs of Jameson and was fucking crazy, was like, "I'm not getting in that." And she literally meant that. She wouldn't get in. I was like, "You understand? I got like a free car. Like, we're just gonna have to around. It's like kind of a novelty. Like, no, not getting in that." And like did the foot stamp thing.
Yeah, no, not
in the driveway.
That's a shame. So, do you mean the little sports car one, don't you? The little.
No.
Okay.
The Smart 4.2 in America came in with a Brabus package optional on it, for real. Yeah. It looks like this. It's a complete horror show, yes, in case you're wondering. It is a massive horror show.
Does that have a twin-turbo V12 in it, though?
Fully embarrasses the Brabus brand. I haven't taken one of their cars seriously since.
Why did they let that happen?
I don't know. Do you know what they're selling now? I mean, what they're selling now is pretty embarrassing. Those G-Wagons, yuck.
But they've always done something like that.
They sell a car right now called the Wide Star. That's the name of it. Wide Star. That's what they landed on. And if you've ever seen one in person, and because I live in Los Angeles, I see them all the goddamn time, it has a monstrous glued on fake carbon fiber hood scoop. Look at any picture of it. It is absolutely fraudamars. Right. It is. It's just glued and plopped on to. It's the most. Look at that snout. That's not real. It's so shamefully embarrassing. I can't believe that people are paying money for this.
if you've got a glued-on bonnet vent that doesn't do anything, you deserve to have it pulled off, don't you?
Yes.
In the street.
Did you see the spoiler? The spoiler he just pulled up to? It's got like a Civic Type R wing on the back of it. Look at that.
Oh my God.
It's just glued on.
And it's blocked.
That whole entire panel is just plopped on. And by the way, if it's not black, if you get one of these that's not in black, that plopped on thing, it's black. It's black on all of them.
Like a shaker hood.
Contrast glued on.
Doesn't bring in any air.
Look at that non-extracting vent.
Yeah.
Look at those vents. On
They're
the
non.
side.
It's not. It does. None of this does anything. It's all just glued on.
That's terrible.
They're not even
Come
trying
on,
anymore.
they can do better than
Wow.
The Wide Star.
I bet
So
for a certain
embarrassing.
type of buyer, it's the coolest car on the road, isn't it?
Do you know how many
For
of
that
these I
kind of
see?
person? Well, there you go. There must be
I
a
see
few.
these all fucking over the place.
I know what they're charging.
Oh, it's got to be
$200,000?
400. It's got to be
Hundreds.
fucking
Hundreds.
400 grand for one of these. Yeah.
Let's see.
It's got to be so stupid. You know, dude, we live on Idiot Island sometimes. The things
Well, I
that
think
we-
the same about me. So
the things
Yeah.
that we see people regularly spending money on here is just unfathomable. I mean, you wouldn't believe the number of Mansory Uruses I see on a weekly basis. At least 3 or 4 a week. Full Mansory Urus. Like, these people have like $400,000 and that's what they're blowing it on? Like, holy shit. Do you have a price, Zach?
I'm trying.
They bury it. It's not easy to find.
But do you know what? I'd love to know what sort of money Mansory makes. It must be a heck of a business.
Oh, here we go. Look here, 800 Wide Stars got it pulled up. 366,000 euro.
Hey, VAT is included.
Oh, thanks. Really? How about the gold, the black and gold edition to the left of it, Zach? Like a Datsun Z. 453,000 euros. Ah!
Wow. What about that really jacked up one? Is that more
Well, that one
expensive?
is a square. That one is actual port. Oh, it's a value. 230K euros.
With the portal axles.
With portal axles. That actually is, you just pull off the ugly carbon scoop, which it has, and you're back to normal. You're good.
I will say that
okay.
when I was a kid, I think Jason Plato did a video with the Brabus rocket, and I thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
Well,
just
it
'cause
was. They were putting V12s in an E-Class.
Exactly.
I mean, how do
And
we
the
go
CLS.
from building the sleepiest sleepers in history, twin turbo V12 E-Classes, to things that are just glued on parts and then a tune and an exhaust on a fucking 4-liter?
Because if you pull up to the club in a sleeper, people think you have the same car as their dentist. But if you pull up in this, it's like you've got to have some money, and you're definitely going to spend it on me and on something because you're an idiot. Look how much orange
Maybe I
there
need
is
one of
in
these.
this.
Oh,
You need
boy.
one of these,
So
Dan.
yeah, Brabus used to do cool stuff, didn't they? Well, it was Brabus that did the E-Class with the wheel spats, wasn't it? The
Yeah.
aero. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it was like a 200-mile-an-hour E-Class. Like that, I can get on board with.
Yeah, they had the rocket and there was the Bullet, I think, also, which might have been a CLS class with, also, 1,000 horsepower or whatever it was. The Russians they'd runway race those things. Because the Russians would go, they've got that mile-long side-by-side drag strip. So they're the only people that can
do?
run full mile side-by-side. It's divided.
That's cool.
Yeah. Fucking
That's
Russia.
pretty cool.
Yeah, there we go.
Well,
See, that's cool. The Brabus Rocket CLS, 2005. Yeah, a V12 in a CLS. That is excellent. It does not get any better in Mercedes land than that. That's
Do you reckon
perfect.
it's horrendous to drive?
Yes. But who cares?
Obviously. Imagine the
probably
traction
has-
issue.
And if you put those like, them like headers that they put on the S classes to make them sound like Zondas, you got to put the crazy headers on there so it sounds like a Zonda. I don't think it gets much better than a V12 shoved into a CLS. That sounds pretty much perfect to me.
Yeah,
It's the opposite of a glued-on hood scoop.
12 piston brakes.
Fuck out of here.
Wow, it has ceramics back in 05.
Oh, wow, that must have been
So it
very
stops.
expensive.
It does
Yeah.
stop.
And look, it's most powerful TÜV engine ever tested in Germany. How much power
What was
is
it?
that?
800?
Yeah.
More?
730 horsepower, 6.3 liter twin turbo, 0 to 300 kilometers in under 30 seconds.
Back in 05.
In 05, in a
730
sedan, that's
horsepower
pretty fast.
was nuts in anything.
That's flying. That's flying, isn't it? But you can see why, can't you? Like, why things like the E63 just had to go four-wheel drive. They just got to that point. 600 horsepower. It would be a waste of time, wouldn't it? Rear-wheel drive, particularly in the wet.
Yeah.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Back in, I think it was like, what was like the last year before they went four-wheel drive? Maybe like 12 or 13 maybe, or 14, something like that?
13. Yeah, 14, 15 maybe, yeah, around there.
Yeah. Zach and I were doing a different, we now make a show called Modified on Haggerty's channel, but we were making another show back in the day, but we went down to Rentec in Florida, and they had a CLS 63 that was like the last year before it was four-wheel drive. And this thing had a stock body, stock wheels, and it ran a 9-second quarter mile with a full interior. It was like 900 horsepower. But you had to do that, you had to take off the rear wheels and put on these, Mickey Thompsons, or whatever, deflated to like 4 PSI. With regular road tires, it would do burnouts at 80 to 100 miles an hour.
I mean, it is fun, isn't it? It is fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
But,
it was.
Do you know what? I really don't know what quarter mile times mean, because we don't really talk about quarter mile here in the UK. All I know is I just have to think back to the Fast and Furious films where Vin Diesel says, "You owe me a 10-second car."
Yes.
And so I know that 10 seconds is fast, and anything under that is really fast.
Oh, yeah. There's a guy in Florida who tuned his McLaren 765 LT that's running in the 8s right now on a street car.
That's not a car that needs more power. That's not. I've heard you talk about this before. That car does not need to be faster.
No, we could stop. In fact, we could slow down a little bit. We could fucking chill the fuck out. Did you drive the new GT3 yet?
Yeah, only on track.
Tell me your thoughts.
Well, phenomenal powertrain. That's pretty much carried over from the last one, isn't it? So we know that. It's awesome. I think what I like about those cars most on track. Yeah. Oh God, I look a knob, don't I? Can you take that picture down, please?
You look thin. That's good.
Thank you. What I love about those cars on track is how durable they feel. Like, you just think you can hammer it all day on circuit. It's not going to overheat. It's not going to destroy its brakes, and it's going to be durable. And I don't think Porsche gets quite enough praise for how tough those things are. And of course, it's mega to drive, and that new front end makes a big difference. And it's a GT3, isn't it, that turns in and holds a line. It's spectacular. But I've not driven it on the road, and a few people that I trust, Andrew Frankel being one of them, says that it's pretty uncompromising on the road. So I was interested to know what you guys thought.
I agree with Andrew. I haven't driven it on track. On the road, if the tarmac is good, it's fabulous. If it's bumpy, actually Chris Harris used the word busy, which I think is the best word to describe it. It is busy, especially if you've had any time. I gave it back. I drove it twice. I'm a little spoiled because I wrote a first drive for the web, and then I wrote the full piece for Road and Track. So I got 3 more days, which was pretty fun. But after the first drive, I was like, oh man, this thing kind of beat the shit out of me. And I drove a McLaren right afterwards, and the carbon tubbed car, like it could be so much softer in the suspension, and I was like, oh shit. And then I drove it again, and I was like, actually, it's not that bad. But it pretty much feels like the last generation's RS is kind of what it feels like.
I think it's interesting that they've done that. They'll have their reasons. It might be that the GT3 Touring is quite different and it's much more sort of relaxed in that sense. I just think it's a pity though, because for me, the appeal in those GT3s was always that they were brilliant on the road. Yeah. And in the UK, I'm sure you've driven some of our roads, they're horrendous. Yeah. But the GT3 always dealt with them. It was always weirdly supple and plush, given that it's sort of a track-focused sports car. And I just
the response I got from Porsche on that was that the other products, the other 911s, perform at such a high level that they wanted to move the GT3 a little further into motorsport theater. And make it feel a little more like the race car, because the obviously a Carrera S is real fast, and for a fucking turbo, like, forget it. I mean, a turbo is just batshit at this point. So
you gotta wonder if they had just backed that Nürburgring time back from like 17 to like 8, and they just toned down the aero a little, and then they could soften the spring a little. Like, did they just go a little bit too far?
It's not horrible. Like, it's still manageable, but like, they also told me that they don't plan to change anything for the touring besides removing the wing. I hope that isn't the case. And
surely they have to change the springs.
And they have a softer spring rate or something for the touring. I hope, but you know what we're driving right now is this funky. Oh, go ahead. They need.
No. Go on. What are you driving? I want to know what you're driving.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. It'll still be in the driveway.
The thing about the GT, I thought that they needed that spring rate because it's got all that aero now. And you need all that. You need the spring rate to support the aero. So at 190 miles an hour, it's not just squashed into the road. And yeah, we all thought, didn't we, that without that wing, the touring would have much less downforce and therefore not need the spring rate. But it sounds like that's not what they're doing at all.
I'm repeating what I heard. So maybe there's still time to change it. Maybe I heard wrong. I don't know. So there might still be time to change it. They might still be fine tuning it. I don't know. I might be completely off base.
Well, they might also just tell you something to put a bookmark on you.
But I think what's happening is, like, over the last 5 or 6 years, the GT3 has sort of moved from a bit of like from the cutting edge to sort of a last hurrah maybe for the NA engine, or that's not the right word, but like almost like a throwback. Like it's like almost like a, the old tech you can still buy, almost like Harley Davidson, selling, bikes in the older style or whatever. It's like that you buy it almost for like nostalgia reasons or tradition.
In a world of hybridization and supercars, they just go, you know what, the engine's still an NA motor.
Yeah.
We just did some motorsports stuff to it to make it quicker.
Yeah. And we didn't even put the 8th gear. Like that's kind of awesome.
Because they know that their market will absorb, these drivers' cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can still get a manual box if you want it. Yeah, that's
Did you drive it with a stick or PDK?
PDK. Yeah, only PDK for now. But
I don't know if any of the press cars are stick yet. A lot of people were like, "Why is the one you didn't drive you stick?" I don't think there's a stick press car. At least there's not in America.
I think they come a bit later. I think it will be a few months before we get them actually.
It's interesting, though, that they have to, because they use the older PDK gearbox, they don't use the new one, that they have to put a mechanical shifter level, because that's actually operated by a cable, and they can't use the little the buzzer thing, the face buzzer.
Yeah, that little thing that sticks up, which is a bit rubbish, isn't it? And you can't shift on that. Did you Chris Harris's video that he shot at the same place I shot mine? He does the transition. Slide through this sort of S-bend, and you see him coming out of the S-bend. It's a second gear corner, and on the exit of the corner, he pulls the paddle, the lever for the upshift, and third gear just bangs straight in, and the car keeps sliding.
I saw that. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah. That is cool. Good fun. And you know what I forgot to test? I feel delinquent to my duties. Did you test the clutch kick on this one? Is it good?
No, I forgot.
Shit.
I completely forgot.
But it does it still, right? It must still do it. Why would they take that away?
It's got to still do the same transmission, right?
And then it drops the clutch, doesn't it?
That's very fun. That's like, I mean, whoever was like, "Hey guys, we need to figure out how to make this thing clutch kick," and then they execute that. It's like, thank you.
They're really good at that
automatics
stuff,
fun.
like selling to drivers and enthusiasts. I mean, that word gets thrown around a lot, but Porsche really goes, a lot of our market really like driving.
Yeah.
And what can we do with the technology we have to really elevate that?
Compare that to something else I drove recently that upshifted automatically at Redline. Wah, wah.
Yeah. That's not a motorsports car.
No, it is not.
Well, what was that?
I can't say because it's embargoed. Okay. I'll tell you. I'll tell you in 2 weeks.
So you were talking about Porsche. I mean, they really care about the finer details, don't they? And they really try and make their cars, whatever they are, fantastic to drive. And just today, I shot for piston heads Porsche Taycan 4S versus new Audi e-tron GT.
Oh.
I can't talk about the e-tron GT because that's embargoed until later tonight. So I might upset Audi if I say too much about that.
Yeah,
but
that's okay. We can wait on that. But the Taycan's very good, though. Those are lovely, aren't they?
It's just so impressive, and it steers well. It's pretty agile, given it's so heavy. You know, that thing just demonstrates how good those Porsche engineers are at what they do, doesn't it? They are top of their game.
We just drove the Cross Turismo, the wagon one with the lift, the Taycan Outback, and you know, in America, if you want to sell a wagon, you have to raise it 1.5 inches and put body cladding on it. That's just like a rule. We don't understand how to buy like regular wagons, but we'll buy like all the fucking Outbacks and all roads and all tracks and cross tracks and
in 10
cross
years,
tracks.
They're going to remove the cladding, and another 10, they're going to lower that other inch, and finally we'll have wagons.
We'll circle back.
Yep.
We're just ping-ponging between.
Yeah, you guys, you don't like, we call them estate cars. You don't like them, do you?
Because we don't have any estates. We don't understand this. We don't understand the concept of the estate, really.
Yeah,
No.
in the UK, an estate can either be like a country estate with an enormous manor house on it, or it can be a housing estate where, you know, people live cheap by jowl and have no money. It could be either.
I think it's I don't know. Americans and we like trucks, and we also have big standard-sized parking spaces, and as long as the vehicle can physically get in between those painted lines on the ground, they want to get as close to that shit as possible. I don't know. It's just it's weird. There's also like our roads do suck. You know, if you drive around a lot of places, even non-off-roading seems kind of like off-roading, and so ride quality and greenhouse and things like that, you know.
Well, the driveways have a variety of shapes here. Like the drive in Redondo, you couldn't get into that spot with basically any car.
That's
it was
true.
Too steep. So if your house has a shit driveway, or your commute does, or the store you go to does, and you're tired of scraping your car, yeah.
I will defend crossovers in America because they've really made them drive, you know, go, stop, and turn, as well as the great majority of our drivers are capable of going, stopping, and turning. You know what I mean? To get to the point where a modern crossover's handling utterly falls apart, you got to be going like pretty fast.
True. The dumb thing about a lot of it is that the cars get physically larger, heavier because of this extra mass.
Right.
And also they're up in the air, so they have a worse coefficient of drag.
Right.
So you're just eating more gas.
But we had to raise the shoulder line of the car for crash safety.
True.
You know, you raise the nose for the pedestrian safety, and something has to give real estate to that, and it's the windows, and that's how you end up with the gun slit window look in the sedans. So to get a greenhouse, you know, if you drive an E34 BMW or like a sedan from the 90s, or my new episode of Modified, I'm driving Skylines, you know, the greenhouse is like big, and you go, well, what happened to this big greenhouse? It's like, well, we got thick pillars, we got high shoulders, and to get those back, we have to make the rest of the car taller and pop the top a little bit. It's just kind of
That's true.
Where it's got to go, you know. It sucks.
Yeah,
but
true.
Drive even a 90s car. You drive one, and you just sort of look over your shoulder, and you go, shit, because you can see so much.
Yeah.
You see everything around you, don't you? Whereas today it's headrest, pillar, C-pillar, and you're just sort of doing this, just trying to spot what's behind you. I drove an original Mini a little while ago, you know, a little tiny Mini. And that's like being in a goldfish bowl, just glass all around you.
Yeah.
And actually you realize that from a safety point of view, that's so much better than just having blinds. Although you don't want to roll one, do you?
Right. I mean, my wife has a Mitsubishi Delica, you know, the van, and it's full of glass, same glass all the way around. You could see, like, people are like, is it weird to drive on the right? I'm like, not when you can see 360 degrees around the car. It's not. No, it's cool. Yeah, but I miss those greenhouses. That's why I like my old cars, you know?
Yeah, you've got a Safari 911, haven't you?
Of course. It's good.
Oh, man.
I can't recommend it highly enough.
Yeah. I want to hear about it because I've seen some of the stuff you've done with it. But it's the concept. I just love that idea of a more jacked up sports car, bit of ground clearance, bit of body roll, so you actually feel something in the corners.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of taking it, 'cause, you know, I don't know if you've ever driven a Porsche GT3, but I think it's a across a bit of gravel or something. It's just, I love that prospect. I have to have a go in one of those cars. And
Well,
I
if you
just
come
hope
to
that
the States, by all means, if you come to LA, you can drive mine, of course. We might have to get you a little
Absolutely.
phone books or something.
Oh, yeah, your seat's bolted.
My seat's bolted.
Is it?
I like to sit down. I like to sit down low like Seb. I'm tall, you know, and I like to sit. I have probably this much room above my head in my 1987. Like I'm probably about 4 inches above my head because I like to sit real low in the car, and so my seat's bolted down. But you can have a go by all means. It's very fun.
Next time I'm there, I'll give it a shout because
It's
honestly, it's just, and also you've got it on quite knobbly tires, haven't you? So it doesn't have crazy amounts of grip on the road. And I just, increasingly, I'm drawn to cars that have quite supple suspension, lots of body movement, not too much grip, cars that are fun to drive at sort of low and moderate speeds. I increasingly can't be bothered with stuff that you drive at 7/10 and you're going so fast and you just don't feel anything because it's all grip.
Yeah. I'm 100% with you. The Safari's super fun. It moves like somewhere between a 911 and a trophy truck. You know, like you said, accentuated body roll. I had these BF Goodrich tires on it for like 2 years, and it made it steer kind of strange. And I thought that, well, maybe that's just how it is. And I just switched to the Falcon Wild Peak AT, which doesn't look as badass. It doesn't look like a big meaty Baja tire, but oh my God, the car drives so much better. It's quieter, and it actually has like much better steering. I'm really, really happy about that. But dude, when it rains in Los Angeles, oh man, do I have a good time. I slide entrance ramps. I slide every street corner, you know, because my car is like not that modified mechanically, but it's got a quaif in it and a nice stout clutch. So yeah, you can just, I get a lot of sideways when it gets wet here in Los Angeles. It's very, very fun. And with the suspension, you know, the dips, you know, because we don't have real sewers here. Instead, we have surface level channels for water to run when it rains. So we've got all these dips everywhere. So we really have opportunities to kind of yump it over that stuff and to not slow down in places where other people are definitely forced, to slow down. It's really, really fun. It's you know, obviously you give up any pretensions of being like a race car or anything like that, but people smile at you because it's weird and it's funny, and you know, you can be a bit of a dick driving it and they kind of understand. And it's good enough on the highway that you could do a couple 100 miles in a day in it and it's no big deal. It's really, really good fun. I've had no problems with it. I just drive it like a car and it's a lot of fun, you know. I recommend it.
I'm totally on board with it. And I think it's an immutable law of driving, isn't it? If you can have fun in a city without being totally reckless, that is a fun car.
It is like that. You can have fun at under 40 miles an hour in that car. Yeah. Up to a point. After a while, your left leg starts hurting.
I think that's why Minis are good and Miatas are good. You know, things that aren't that fast. You can get into the gas pedal because all the new cars, you can't really do that because you're just going way too fast, really quickly.
Speaking of which, what they dropped off yesterday is this it's called the Porsche Boxster 25 years. Has this made it to you yet, Dan?
Yeah, it rings a bell. I think I've seen it. I haven't had a go in one or seen one here. But
it
what
has
is it?
These little funky gold. I mean, it's a Boxster GTS 4.0 with 10 millimeter lowered suspension, and then a bunch of these funky retro details that look like the concept car. Zach, it's on my Instagram from yesterday. It's got Porsche literally, like, it almost looks like they put TE37s on it. The wheels are kind of dope. I'm like a fan of the wheels, actually.
Those are Porsche wheels?
Those are stock Porsche wheels. They look like HREs.
Yes, they do.
And it's got a red interior and a red top and these kind of gold accent points on it. It's kind of funky. I like it. Cool. It's a little weird.
And the GTS is a good car.
It is, but as I'm driving over here from my house this morning, I realized that in order to get the 4-liter, you have to get this. It's the long gearing, and so I'm shifting into like third at like 48, 49 miles an hour and not even like trying to go quick. And it's just, it's a lot of gear. And I still think even in this little thing, I'd spend the money to have the gears done.
Yeah, because otherwise you're in second the whole time.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that is right. Because second, you'll pull, 80 or something in second? And so
it's like 779 in second and then 114 in third. It's crazy.
So on one of the canyon roads, you could just leave it in second, can't you? And it'll just pull, and before you need third, you'll be into the next corner. And
actually, in my last GT4 video, I did that. I literally left it in second the entire video.
I just had the Evora GT, which the gearing is also too tall in that car.
Is it too long there?
Yeah, and the shifting's nice and it sounds good, but second goes to 83 or something like that.
Now, it's different in the four-cylinder cars, right? Don't the 718s cars with the four-cylinder turbo have shorter manual gears? I think they do.
I don't know, I can look.
Yeah,
Don't they, Dan?
I think they do. It's certainly not, I don't know, it doesn't seem like such a problem, does it? Yeah, the GT4, the Cayman GT4 and the Spider have the same issue. They're just such long gearing.
It's a fixable problem, fortunately.
Yeah, well, last time I was out in LA, or one of the last times, I had to go in the Sharkworks car. Alex came down.
Did you drive it when it had all 6 of the gears done?
No, I drove it when, what had he done? Like, second was still long, but third, fourth was shorter or something. It's a bit bizarre.
They usually do 2, 3, 4, or 3, 4, 5. Usually is how they do it. But he had 1 through 6 done at one point, and it was like a Monte Carlo rally setup.
Yeah. Where it's just buzzing away the whole time, and you just. But that's great, isn't it? Bang, 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 bang through the gears. I like that. Yeah, that's cool.
So what is some of the craziest adventures you've gotten to get into as part of the, I hate to put you on the spot, as part of the British motoring press, is legendary in world over. Why is that, by the way? What is it? I mean, obviously you're good. You have a way with the English language. It's obviously much better than what we've got here in America. But what is it about England that keeps car journalism on such an important place in their culture?
Well, the English language is a big part of it, isn't it? It's spoken around the world, really. So, the German press, they can speak to Germany and whoever else happens to speak German, but they can't speak to an audience like British and American journalists can. But also, I think it's a legacy thing because Autocar, a UK magazine, is the original car magazine. It was the world's first car magazine. And so the UK must have had a motoring media, an established motoring media before lots of other countries. So it's just sort of snowballed, I suppose. I guess it's also helpful that we're in Europe and we've got loads of great car manufacturers here.
True.
And motorsport heritage, there are lots of F1 teams are based here, lots of race teams are based here. So there's a sector, there's an industry that I guess helps. Just sort of profit.
I feel you guys also have a lot more easy access to cheap abandoned airfields to slide cars impressively on. We don't have a lot of those.
True.
Yeah, but we're starting to lose them. Have you heard of Brightingthorpe? Have you heard that name?
Yeah, they have a crazy long runway there, right?
Yeah, it's a 2-mile long runway. It's an old Cold War runway. It's massive. And I've been going there for years, since I started that first job at Performance Car in 2008. And that's where I learned how to slide a car. It's perfect. There's nothing to hit. They've got wide open corners, a massive long wide runway. You can really learn to chuck a car around there. But in the last couple of years, it's been closed as a test track. There you go. There it is. God, I've spun lots of cars there. And it's you see at the top of the picture all those cars that are stored there. I think they earn something like £18 per day per car.
Oh,
and
wow.
Thousands of them.
For people listening, these lines of cars stretch nearly half the length of this 2-mile airfield.
Yeah, dense.
Wow. Parked.
Yeah.
How far can you zoom into that? That's like real dense.
They're unsold new cars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so the owners of
They're not going to
There
be
you
like,
go.
oh yeah, just drift around this massive block of brand new cars.
Yeah. So the owners of the airfield, inevitably, they realised that they weren't earning any money out of idiot journalists going there and paying 30 quid an hour or something. And so they've closed it. It's no longer a test track. And they're just going to fill it with unsold cars and make a fortune. But yeah, I mean, people who do what I do over here, we're all gutted about it because it was, honestly, you could go there for an hour. You didn't have to really book it. And it would cost maybe 40 or 50 quid for the hour.
Oh, yeah.
You could stay all day if you wanted to. And it was perfect.
No, there's nothing. We don't have anything like that in California. I mean, in California, I don't know if you've ever been, there's one real airfield that's suitable for filming. It's called El Toro. It's in Irvine. Okay. They filmed a lot of, American Top Gear stuff there. And it's, how much?
It's expensive. Oh, tens of thousands of dollars.
$20,000 a day. I think
requires big insurance
and an insurance policy that's probably $50,000 to $100,000 premium for the year.
It seems like
that's crazy.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. That you have a lot of these like small, not independent, but like small road courses that seem inexpensive, and they're really the density of them, compared to the size of your country, is pretty impressive. Whereas we have, I think, pretty large road courses, or now these private race country club racetrack stuff, but we don't really have many of these like show up, pay a small amount of money, and go driving on something on like a simple track that's not Willow Springs. We've
got a few of those. We're lucky. We are lucky. So where we all shot our GT3 videos earlier this year, that's Bedford Autodrome. And I wrote a piece about this for Pistonheads last week because I've been reading a book called Into the Black about NASA, about the space shuttle program, and there was a passage saying there was a test pilot by the name of Neil Armstrong.
Never heard of.
Was testing an experimental delta wing plane at an airfield just to the north of Bedford in England, and I was like, wait a minute, that's the Bedford Autodrome. The Evo office is pretty much at the end of one of the runways. And so I used to go there every week, and that's where we shot the GT3 video recently. And that used to be the hub, the center of Britain's experimental flight sector. People describe it as the UK's Area 51.
Oh, cool.
And it's now like a racing venue. It's just
we've
bizarre
got the map pulled up. It looks like a pretty proper circuit. There's like 4 or 5 different tracks there.
Yeah, there are 4 separate circuits, and you can join them together to make a really long one. And it
looks like a good time.
Because it's an old, enormous airfield. Again, there's just nothing to hit. So that is the place to learn how to slide a car. Just because you'll just spin. That's all that will happen.
And where the track day is cheap, or maybe I was incorrect there, where, is it hundreds of dollars or $100 to get on?
There are places, if filming or taking pictures, you can get on for, I don't know, maybe 300 quid, 400 quid for half a day. Maybe it's a bit more than that. So, I don't know, $500 or something.
There's nothing like that here. Like you have to you'd pay that much to go to like a track day with like 40 other people, which most manufacturers expressly forbid you from doing stuff like that with their cars. Or, you got to pay to rent the whole track, which even at a minimum in California is $6,000-8,000 probably. It's just crazy. Not, we just can't get tracks. It sucks. It sucks. Fortunately, we have these mountain roads.
Right. Right.
Very early in the morning.
Yeah, that's the time to do it, isn't it? And those roads you've got out there, the canyon roads, they're mega.
Yeah, we're spoiled. We are very spoiled.
So Dan, this is something we talked to Andrew about. I want to get your take. What do you feel about the state of cars in the world? Supercars, hypercars, where we're at, or where you think we're going?
For instance, Andrew said we were past peak car by about 10 years. And I'm sure you're familiar with that sentiment.
Yeah, I think 95 to 2010 was when cars were at their most enjoyable, because they had performance, they had reliability, but they still had NA engines. They were light, they were small. They had hydraulic steering or unassisted steering. I think that period was really the golden age. And I think now we're at a point where lots of car makers, particularly the supercar makers, they don't seem to have ideas beyond more grip, more power, and inevitably, because of all that, more weight, more aero. You know, what's aero doing for you on the road? It's nothing.
I'll tell you what, in the GT3, it means I can't see anybody behind me.
Yeah.
It blocked the entire view out the back, and then I drove it at night, and what it did was it made the headlights flicker back and forth like a strobe. Because they'd be covered, uncovered, covered, uncovered, covered, uncovered, and you'd get flickering in the rear mirror. And I went, how the fuck did they let this pass? This is crazy.
Because their roads are very smooth.
Yeah, in Germany.
Very, very smooth.
Yes. In Germany, all the headlights are at the same height, and it's directly 1 millimeter under the wing. This is your country's fault, not ours.
What do you mean you had bumps on the road? Did someone drop some marbles or something?
Yeah, right. And do you know what? I don't want to have a go, really, because I think it's awesome that you can buy a McLaren 765 LT that's clearly got 1,000 horsepower, and you don't need any. You know, actually, we should celebrate that, shouldn't we? Because it's cool that you can go and do that. However,
it's a double-edged sword, right? You know, you have this crazy opportunity. There's never been more opportunities to lease your way to a 10 or 9 second car. You know.
Yeah, and also the consequence of all that power and grip that they've got is that I can't really enjoy them on the road unless I'm in the middle of nowhere, somewhere really remote. I just feel like I have much more fun in something like my car, my Alpine, or a little Fiesta ST, right? That car, Ford Fiesta ST, is one of my favorite cars on sale right now. I have more fun in that little thing, hammering along as fast as it will go, than I do in a McLaren driving at 6 or 7 tenths, because if you go any faster, you're going to lose your license. And so I'm just more and more drawn to cars that are fun at low and medium speeds.
Yeah.
I think my issue with the way all this is going is, certainly in Europe, we're switching very, very quickly from combustion to electric. And how are they going to make electric cars fun to drive at low speeds? I think the only trick they've got at the moment is just faster and faster and faster. And I find it pretty unconvincing.
Are you saying you don't like doing 2.0 to 60 launches repeatedly? That's not. Are you trying to tell me that isn't like a pleasant sensation for you? Because every time I get in my loaned Taycan Turbo S, from every single stoplight I do a launch control because it makes my stomach feel like real good.
Yeah. Doesn't make it feel like it's going to eject everything inside it and up through your nose. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been talking about this with Andrew recently, and I do think that it can be done. I do think that you can make an electric car fun to drive, and I really hope it can be made, I can be proven right there. But it's all about the batteries, right? And that comes down to the charging infrastructure, because without the charging infrastructure, you need a big battery. If you've got that battery, it's going to weigh 2 tons, and then it's not going to be much fun to drive, is it? So once you can charge your car very quickly, very conveniently, very easily, you can halve the size of that battery, and then maybe you've got something that could be fun to drive. But
I mean, I think
one's done it.
I think that the performance EVs you can buy right now are fun considering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A Taycan, especially a high-performance one, is really fun considering its weight. And if you haven't driven, Dan, the base model rear drive Taycan, it's pretty badass, actually. It's very nice.
Is it?
Yeah, it's very cool. It's probably the one I would buy. And I have a Mach-E rear-wheel drive that is fun for what it is. And I think the Model 3 Performance is fun for what it is.
Yeah.
But every GM has got this 1,000 horsepower Hummer thing coming out. Elon Musk is trying to be all fucking, this Plaid thing is going to be 1 point whatever seconds. Like, no, it's not. Stop, Elon, you're lying. But whatever. Still, even the things he's offering don't seem pleasant. You know what I mean?
Right, but they're impressive to say.
Right.
That's all people register, and then they do it once and they never do it again.
On the other hand, dude, have you driven an Elva? McLaren Elva?
No, not yet.
It's obviously an enormous amount of horsepower and very little weight, but the removal of the windshield and that deflector thing that allows you to drive it without real face protection, like, I actually had to give them credit, because that is different from more downforce, more, more power. They don't use the LT's gearing. They use the regular gearing. They use regular tires and regular engine mounts and all that kind of shit. But the theater of driving like a convertible that feels like it has a windshield but doesn't, like, that's some whimsy. Like, that's like, do more shit like that. You know what I mean? Give me some like weirdo stuff. I think McLaren gets points for experimenting.
I need to have a go in one of these windscreenless cars because maybe they are quite fun to drive because you're so exposed to the elements, a bit more like being on a motorbike maybe.
Well, they're more fun at lower speeds because if you tried to do the speed in a Elva that you did in a 720, you'd shit your pants. you'd take an enormous amount of detritus to the face. You'd have a panic attack. You couldn't breathe. Your eyes would be. I mean, it doesn't work. You can't do it. So it gets like 100 in an Elva feels like 220 in anything else. It's fucking crazy how it goes the other way. It's nuts.
Well, there you go. It doesn't matter how fast you're going, does it? It matters how fast you feel like you're going.
Yeah.
And so if it makes you feel like you're going quick, then yeah, maybe so. But can you honestly pull up to a restaurant or something where your friends are waiting for you and step out of one of those, or do you just feel like too much of a knob?
You can if you're a superhero, like an actual superhero.
If you make it to Los Angeles, I can't wait for you to see the people that do step out of stuff like that because it is extraordinary.
Okay,
Either
that sounds like fun.
It's all sweatsuits and Yeezys with like a $400,000 watch, or it's the full matching, race team owner kind of like livery, where they really dress up for the car. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I'd far rather turn up in your Safari 911. That's a bit more me.
Yeah, it means you got a little bit of a sense of humor with something like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been putting miles on my Ferrari 328, and that thing is fucking great. That's the 2,800 pounds and 275 horsepower. That's lovely. It's a great time.
Yeah.
Revs to 8. I'll take that all day.
Okay. Would you say 2,800 pounds, 275 horsepower?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So that's very similar to my A110, which is 2,400 pounds, 250 horsepower.
Oh, you have a new Alpine, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that, for me, is about the right amount of performance for the road because you can use it. It's quite quick. It's quicker than most traffic. But you're not, doing crazy speeds if you run it through a few gears. That's what I'm into now.
Has it held up all right?
Yeah, absolutely fine.
It's a good car?
10,000 miles. There it is. That. Yeah.
Oh wow! And it says it, and there it is, parked next to a G-body 911 and an E30, and it's the right size. It's not enormous.
Yeah. No, that's it. That car, the A110, it's right from the ground up. That was last summer when we went out for a drive into the countryside with a couple of my friends. That was a good day out. And
yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, the A110, it's just inherently right. It's small, it's compact, it's light, it's aluminium, it's well balanced. It's just an inherently right sports car, and it doesn't need adaptive dampers. It doesn't need rear wheel steering or active anti-roll bars or any of that stuff to put right anything that's inherently wrong about it, because it's just a right car, and you feel it when you drive it because it's just fun. It's just brilliant fun.
It looks like fun. I've never seen one in person. Is the quality on par with like a Fiesta ST at least? What's the quality like?
It's fine. It's okay. It's the
more than
materials.
Elise though.
Yeah, way better. Way
Okay.
better. It's between Elise and Boxster. And
Oh,
so the
okay.
clever thing,
There's the interior.
about it,
Yeah, okay. That steering wheel looks awfully familiar.
It's I don't think it's from a Renault. The interior, it's like fully insulated. It's carpeted. It's got a proper stereo. It's got all that stuff. So it's not a pain like an Elise can be.
It looks like really nicely thought out in there too. And I see I see actually buttons that look like that center console looks like it's out of like a Ferrari 430, doesn't it? Kind of.
Yeah, it's got that floating console. It's cool, man.
Yeah.
I love
Very
it.
cool.
That is cool.
Is that steering wheel from a Navora?
The steering wheel is the same steering wheel as the Lotus Evora.
It is.
Yeah. That's why it looks familiar. Yeah.
It does look it. I need to compare them, actually. You might be right there.
Yeah,
But
it
It
is.
looks cool in there.
That's a cool looking car.
It's one of the cars you don't get, isn't it? Like
No. We got hosed on that deal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Americans, like, you know, it might be a tough sell for Americans. Americans don't understand French cars. Even if you try to sell it as a Renault, like a Renault and Nissan still partners. If they might be able to get away with it as a Nissan. If they try to sell it as like a Nissan 200NX or something, they could probably figure it out. That would be very bold of them.
That'd be cool.
That would be
That'd be
fucking
great.
cool, wouldn't it? Yeah,
This
that would be
picture,
awesome.
I think that demonstrates why, particularly in the UK, where we're very sensitive to brand and we're a bit snobbish, we're badge snobs. I think that photo demonstrates why Alpine might have a tough time in the UK, because that was the day I collected my car. So I went to the dealership, and you go to a Renault dealership, you know, and you're walking past Renault crossovers to get to this little corner of the showroom that's dedicated to Alpine. And I just think that if you're spending Boxster money, and it is Boxster money, there'll be a lot of people who would far rather go to a swanky Porsche dealership, get the treatment, you know, be offered a coffee, see your car sat there alongside a 911, not a Renault Capture, which you won't know what that is, but it's not a cool car. You know, and it's
because what you're doing when you walk in is you are walking towards the best car, arguably, this company makes. You're at the top.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to aspire to, but if you walk in the Porsche dealership and you buy a Boxster, you go, okay, and then maybe one day I'll have the 911.
Well, there was the problem with this with Genesis. I mean, people in America didn't want to deal with a Hyundai dealer, you know, for a luxury brand. Or same thing with Volkswagen Phaeton. Phaeton maybe even more so.
Yeah.
Where they spent 85 grand or, you know, 90 grand on this W12, you know, thing that all the Bentleys are based on. And here they are next to Jettas and, you know, Golfs and
absolutely.
shit. Yeah.
It is a problem for them, I think.
I'm not surprised. Alpine is a weird, you know, it's like a weird, like, is it a Renault? Is it a what? Is it its own brand? Like, exactly what the fuck is it? Like, I'm supposed to know, and I don't even really know. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I'm not even really sure. But yeah, it just seems like something I really want to fucking drive. But as I got into that funky Boxster outside, after multiple days with the GT3, I got in the Boxster and I went, oh shit, this is the correct size for a sports car. The Boxster's engine is not physically any bigger or smaller than the GT3. It's exactly the same size.
And now you can move within the lane.
Yeah.
Right?
I was like, oh, shit. All right.
Yeah.
We got a lot of questions, Dan, from the folks. What's up?
Yeah, cool.
Oh, I thought there was a thing. Fucking delays. Let's go through a few of these. And if you're in the super chat with us live today, 5 more minutes or so, and then we can shut that down. Tone Zors says, why do OEMs cite manual take rates when getting rid of a manual when out of the 1,198 Corollas on sale within 100 miles of me, 5 are manual, only 1 a hatch? I don't understand the question. What are they trying to say, that people aren't adopting Corollas either in manual?
I don't know either. I thought he was actually being sarcastic, like only 5 out of the 2,000 or 1,200 are manuals, but it's not really.
I think
very well.
Oh, okay. What? So there are only a few manuals. Is that what you're saying?
There's not a lot of manuals. No, save the manuals.
I think
Buy them,
maybe this
please.
person thinks that they've sold out of manuals and it's very hard to find them, but I think you're looking at it wrong, Toners, or it's like, no. Out of 1,200 around you, there's only 5 manuals available because the take rate's really low.
That's the question. Yeah, they're saying, well, the take rate is low, that's why we're getting rid of it. When on the other hand, they're making them harder to. Yeah, well, you end up with the dealers. You know, the dealers have to order these cars from the manufacturer, right? So if you're looking on dealer lots to buy a manual, dealers are not going to stock a manual, but you could probably talk a dealer into ordering you a manual if you put down a deposit or whatever and get, you know, whatever color it is that you want. There is
because ultimately the dealer is making a bet when they order this inventory.
Right.
They're going, the number of people that come in this place are going to buy what.
Yeah.
So why would they look at the numbers of people that are skipping and walking past the manual and then order that thing just to have it on the lot?
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame a dealer principal for not stocking manuals if their personal data says the automatic version of this car sits on the lot for an average of 12 days, and the manual one sits on the lot for an average of 35 days, and, well, buy.
Yep.
I don't blame them for that.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily blame a dealer for saying, oh, you want a manual? I'll order it for you, but the incentives aren't there to buy what's on the lot today. It is what it is. I'm sorry. I hate to be the guy who says, well, the manual's going to cost you more because of this, but, like, it might. It might. Mm-hmm. Or you might have to take a little trip.
Yeah.
Buy one out of state.
Yep.
You said there's 5?
See a new place.
Yeah. That's 4 that won't be yours and 1 that will. You know what I mean?
Also, though, you can't like in the UK, the new M3 and M4, there's no longer a manual option because
Really?
we don't get the lower spec one. Yeah, we only get the competition, which only comes with that auto box.
Bro,
Wow.
here they're running commercials on the fucking daily that are talking about the new M3 with manual transmission. You seen that commercial? It's filmed at Thermal with some actor it's like handsome, but in kind of like an unconventional, maybe almost ugly way. Like, it's not Adam Driver. It might be, it's someone like that. You know what I'm talking about?
This is a good description.
But it's like literally, it's the whole commercial is that the M3 comes with a stick. That's the basis of the whole commercial. I can't remember.
You guys
can't
still
play it
like
anyway,
it.
but-
We can't play it, but I can't remember who's in it. But they're doing a lot of drifting at Thermal.
Do you know what? I've got a story about thermal. Can I tell my
Please.
story about thermal?
Yes.
Hang on. I've just forgotten the dude's name. This is stupid. Hang on. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
Thermal is a private racetrack club in Palm Springs. I once took a helicopter there for the Lamborghini Urus launch. That helicopter, a year later, killed Kobe Bryant.
Well, the pilot.
Oh,
the
shit, I
pilot
heard you
Kobe
talking.
Bryant.
Yeah, very same helicopter. Also, Thermal has the best on-track restaurant I've ever had in my life. When you come off your session, they give you an iced towel to put around your neck, and there's literally a fucking D's-ass espresso machine in the pits. It fucking rules.
I was there a couple of years ago on a Michelin tire launch.
Oh, yeah. PS4S, right?
No, it's just the PS4, so maybe before then. Actually, I'll come back to this in a moment because I met you for the first time then, Matt, and you won't remember this, but I'll freak you out by telling you a story after this. So we were at Thermal, and Keanu Reeves was there, and we had a load of M cars, and weirdly, we're doing ducks and drakes, so with an instructor in the front, and then 3 cars behind, and Keanu Reeves was in my little group. So we're going around Thermal. I'm in an M4. I think we all had M4s behind an M2, and Neo is in the car behind me. And the pace is starting to pick up a little bit, and he starts dropping back. And, a couple of laps later, there's a massive gap between the 3 of us and Keanu Reeves at the back. And at the end of the session, we pull into the pits, and he wanders over and he says, "Oh, sorry, guys, I was holding you up." And I was like, faster than Neo from the Matrix, man. I was delighted with that.
He's a good guy. A lot of people in LA have a Keanu spotting story. He's always kind of around on the arch motorcycles.
Yeah, he seemed like a good lad. I liked him.
That was a really an interesting event. I remember that event being fun, except they gave me the most ridiculous amount of swag you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
It was obscene, and I gave it all away on Instagram, but some people did not. It's just fine, whatever. But it was like moon boots and like all kinds of crazy.
The boots.
Yeah, I remember the boots.
Yeah, no, it was when I was in LA for that. It was in Palm Springs, wasn't it? But I was in LA just before then. I came into your house, Matt.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Was he asleep? Was Matt sleeping?
No, you were walking along the boardwalk with Mr. JWW.
Oh.
And I bumped into you guys, and he was good enough to stop and say hello. We were right outside your house. You invited me in, and I came in and met your dog.
Oh, this must have been when Nino was living there, the pug?
Yeah.
Nino was living there. Okay, cool, yeah. I don't remember that. There a lot of weed, a lot of years, but I'm glad I was so hospitable. Honestly.
You were very hospitable.
I'm glad. Thanks for stopping by. You're welcome to come by anytime.
Not at all. No dog this time, mate.
The roommate who had the dog has left. We have 4 cats now, though, so they're equally fun.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so
I'm a little ashamed I don't remember that. I do remember when James, because James was really tight with Thad, so he was actually chilling with Thad, yeah.
I was only there for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you could stop by. It's nice of you.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Shaky Burn says, shout out to Dan, one of my favorite people. And Dan needs to get in a GT350R. You omitted it in a recent video. Dan, getting a goddamn 350R.
Well, the Mustang.
Yeah, the Mustang.
I tried one at Thruxton, which is the fastest circuit we've got in the UK. It's a frightening circuit. A couple of years ago, did a good few laps in one. That is a great car. I really liked it. That's the one with the flat plane crank V8, isn't it?
Yeah, it's real cool.
Yeah, that was good. And it's got like a proper sort of track day chassis. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, that car is really, really well set up. Although if you're on bumpy roads, the 305 front tires can get a little darty. A little bit.
Going a straight line.
Zach, scroll up. Zach. Okay. Yeah, okay, got it. Chappie says, I love the intercooler. I went from a stick 997.1S to a stick F-type. Would that be a step down in the driving experience? The Jag is a very pretty car.
Yeah, step down, I'm afraid.
Unfortunately,
very pretty car.
yes. And the stick F-type is actually objectively pretty good. No,
okay. I like the F-Type. What I don't like is that stick shift. I don't like that manual transmission. I think it's, I don't know, maybe you'll feel differently, but compared to that 997 Carrera transmission, that gear shift is lovely. And the one in the Jag for me is just, it's fine. It's fine.
Well, it's the BMW Getrag. It's the same transmission, shifter, and clutch assembly that they use in the M3, and so it feels just like that. So if you're into how a BMW manu feels,
which almost nobody is, as I say that as a BMW owner, and it's true for almost every generation of fast BMW I've driven.
I agree. It would be a step down in driving experience, although a stick F-Type is not such a bad thing. It's okay. Chip Manuel says, looking back on your careers, what piece of journalistic content are you particularly proud of? Dan?
None. No, I think
your next piece is your best piece, Dan.
Yeah, it is. I think the moment you look back and reflect and go, I'm proud of that. It's no, because it could always be better. Your next piece will be better, be more informed. You could have worked harder. You could have spoken to more people, done more stuff. Just, it's always the next one. It's always the next one. You know, I've had a lot of fun, done some reasonable stuff, but no, don't look back with pride.
That's fair.
I'll take that and kind of flip it a little bit, but like
humble.
I think if you look back at something and you like it, what I do is then I go, well, I don't like a lot of the other ones. So what do I like about that one? And then to your point, Dan, then you can go, okay, what do I need to do better? What do I need to work harder? Why do I like this one better? Because I probably worked harder on it, put more thought into than these other things.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I ever did that, like, first off, I almost don't like anything I've ever done on camera. Like, I hate looking at myself. You know, I don't particularly like listening to myself. Just I make that stuff and then I send it off and I don't really look at it again. I've had things I was very proud of editing as an editor when I made a film or something. And I was really proud of some of the things we did. Like when we went to New Zealand 6 years ago and I edited some of that, I thought I did a really good job with some of that stuff, and I like that. I wrote the Million Mile Lexus piece that I wrote and that was printed. It was like, I wrote 3,700 words that they printed in a magazine. That's a lot of words to get printed in a magazine. So, and it was the Million Mile Lexus project. So that one felt good. That's about it.
That's
really.
cool. That's cool.
Thomas Harrison Lord says, what was it like to drive a V12 Ferrari for the first time? Dan, directed specifically.
Yeah, so...
Is that a leading story?
No, well, it's maybe, but it was back in March this year. I drove a V12 Ferrari for the first time.
Oh, I didn't realize it was like this year.
Yeah, just somehow, all those cars had passed me by. Never driven one before. And it was an 812 GTS. And my God.
What a piece of shit, right?
What a great car. What a great car.
And that engine, wow. I mean, it was, I'd waited a long time to drive one of those cars, and it was everything I hoped it would be. It was really special.
What did the V12, and that one especially, I guess, well, let's do this. What did that V12 do that maybe others from Aston or other companies didn't? And then, what is it about V12s that are so unique compared to like an 8?
Okay, so that one, it goes to 8.9, doesn't it? Almost 9,000 RPM, which is, for an engine that size, is bonkers. The Aston ones are probably done at 6,500, so you've got this reach at the top end. You've also got power, 800 horsepower, which is way more than a naturally aspirated engine, Aston engine ever produced. So it just rips. That's what you've got. You've also got 6 litres of this, 6.5 litres, so you've got torque. But it pulls through the mid-range, but then it just rips at the top end. And it howls and it wails and it just keeps on going. And it's the power delivery that's just so exciting. And the speed and the soundtrack. Yeah, V12, it's just the configuration, isn't it? Like sometimes you think a V8's great, you think a V10's great, but then you drive a V12 and you realize that's where it's at.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yep. You have a point.
Yeah, no further questions, Your Honor.
No, GTS is the shit. 812 GTS is the shit.
Yeah.
That's a silly car. It's very good.
And now they've done the competizione ones, haven't they, that go to 9.5.
Yes. Increase the rev limiter, Sergio.
More
Thank you very
titanium,
much.
more power,
Yeah, right.
faster revs. Good Lord.
I like that. I like that we're not giving up entirely on the naturally aspirated engine. I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
It's
Thank God for that.
It's nice.
That car is so amazing.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. And every time I drive one, I just think I don't want to drive a turbo car ever again,
I know. Once you go, you can't really go back. Although some of the crazy tuner shit is really fun. I mean, a turbo car that gives you the right sensations. It's not like I think you probably mean like the mass market production turbo cars where it's like the flat torque curve is really the pinnacle of that achievement. You know what I mean? It's like the ones that go
racing.
Those are fun.
That supercharged Mini, that was such a wonderful engine experience.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds, feel, power band, all of that. That was great.
Oh yeah, Zach and I drove a classic Mini that had a Rotrex supercharged V6 in the back of it. It had made 550 horsepower. It was bad shit.
It was twitchier than meth addicts who have not had their supply. Like that, if you lifted the throttle, thought about it, whoa, like it turned in. It was scary. It was straight scary.
Weight transfer was accentuated.
Holy shit. Yeah.
It sounds dangerous.
It was, but it was great.
It was really, really nice. It worked properly, though. It did the thing. It did the thing that they were selling. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Ray Lee says, what is their favorite factory non-M BMW? Easy. Z1.
Yeah, i8. I love the i8.
i8?
I'd go Z8.
I didn't drive the i8 in 2014 when it came out. I think I might have loved it then. I didn't drive it until 2020, and by then I was like, wah, wah.
It's nothing like a 911 or an R8 or something to drive, but if you use one for a little while, apart from it being a pain to get in and out of, it's actually just quite lovely, driving silently through town, decent performance, good fuel economy. It's got skinny little tires, so it really skates along the ground. You can make that thing it slides a bit like a classic car when you're really hammering along in it. I just think it looks cool. And it's got a great cabin. But yeah, good question though. Also, I mean, the current M550i X-Drive, I mean, that's an M performance one, isn't it? It's not a full M car, but that is a great sort of sleeper. That is a great smoker, that thing.
I drove that thing. It was a little of this.
What?
I'm doing the motion of the ocean thing.
I don't mind that.
Soft and supple.
Very soft and supple. You know the Alpina XB7, the giant 3-row SUV with the Alpina treatment.
Yeah.
It had body motions like kind of resembling a luxury trophy truck, and that was sort of fun in its own way. It really was, I swear.
Yeah, I've tried it. That is fun. That thing. It's I don't mind cars that move around actually, as long as they don't as long as it's not loose control and they get out of phase with the wheels and stuff. I don't mind feeling the car working beneath you. I'm cool with that.
No, I went back. I drove an E39 M5 not long ago, and at first I was like, "Holy body roll," and then I was like, "Oh, wait a minute! It goes from grip to no grip with a whole area in between that I can feel."
Yeah.
I see.
That's it, isn't it? That is it. That's what I want in cars. Yeah, you can play with them. They don't just lose grip like that. There's a window.
Yeah. And then when they lose grip in a modern supercar, you're going 150. You know,
and then you crash a lot.
And you sail it off a cliff.
You crash a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
A significant supply of crashing just
right?
happened.
Yes.
Last question before we wrap it up here. Any thoughts on the chip shortage? Dealers are selling their demos and used car prices are up. Yeah, capacity or factory production is like way down, right? It's like not making cars.
Yeah.
And it's going to take months.
What is causing the chip shortage?
I don't know.
Is it raw minerals or is it like supply chain? I don't really know.
I don't know either. My guess is supply chain. I'm going to try to look it up quickly.
Maybe for the next show, we should look into the chip shortage more. We've been asked 2 shows in a row about it.
While Zach's looking that up, can I just tell all your lovely listeners and viewers about the Intercooler app, please?
100%.
All right. Do you mind? Okay, so as I said, we launched the app just over 2 weeks ago, and it's a new kind of digital car magazine. We think it's the first of its kind, right? So it's a digital car magazine that's sort of presented, packaged as a mobile app. We've got what we think is one of the best teams of writers out there. We've got the likes of Henry Catchpole. We've got Karen Chandok, who's an ex-F1 driver, and who just writes about motorsport so beautifully. People like Mel Nichols, Andrew English, Peter Robinson, and other guys as well, who are just the grandees of car media, right? Particularly in the UK. And we post great stories. Every day, there's at least one really good article up there. We've got podcasts and videos and other bits and pieces. And the key thing about this, and this is what no one's tried before, as far as we know, is that you have to subscribe. You have to pay to view all this stuff. And the important thing about that is that it means you can just write great stories that our readers want to read. It's not about satisfying the SEO algorithm. It's not about satisfying advertisers. So we've put the emphasis back on the reader, and that's why, if people just pay a little bit of money for this stuff, the quality of it improves drastically. And so what we're hoping to demonstrate with the Intercooler app is that people are ready to pay for digital written content. And it's early days. We'll figure out in a few months from now whether or not it's going to work, but we're giving it a go. And if anyone wants to download it, just search the Intercooler in the App Store. You'll find it.
Does it seem like it's working so far? Is it going well?
We think so. Everybody gets a 1 month free trial, and so we're still in that 1 month phase. So if when that's over, everyone cancels and goes, "Nah, not for me," then no, it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
But if people stick around, there are reasons to think it work. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. The difference between having no front end budget and stories and headlines and photos that are just designed for maximum clicking, and having a dedicated subscriber base with a monthly predictable budget, and that these folks will read a variety of stories that may not be the most SEO friendly. I mean, I always think about the kind of stuff that I loved in like the 90s or whatever. If that shit was like on demand based on like a thumbnail and a title, and it wasn't just like, oh, the new episode of blah 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 is out, I'm gonna watch it. You know what I mean? Like, it would be a totally different thing. So it's really hard with on demand because it's all about drawing those eyeballs, which is totally at odds with what the kind of stories that interesting people find interesting. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's been a contest for numbers. I mean, it always has with television stuff, but with the internet, it seems like it's become so focused. There's like the trick headlines thing, and then with the hybrids, like if you're a traditional magazine trying to move into a digital subscription, you still have those advertisers to satisfy.
Yeah.
So you're trying to satisfy like the new reader, but also the advertisers. So you guys kind of get around that, which seems like a very good idea.
Bring it to the people.
Right.
We don't advertise, and it just means that we're not beholden to anyone apart from our readers. They are our overlords, and our job now is just to satisfy them with great stories, and nothing else matters. And because these people, these lovely subscribers that we've got, are paying for it, we know that they love cars, and we can't go too deep with the geeky detail. And yeah, there we go. It's good. It's exciting, and I hope it works. And thank you for letting me talk about it.
I do too. Yeah. And when you run out of stories in the UK, you can come over here and get some more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Matt, we should talk. Maybe you guys could do something for us.
I'd like to actually. I kept seeing on your Instagram, like, now announcing this amazing person is working for the Intercooler. I was like, when's there going to be my fucking headshot up there? Now announcing this dude is on the Intercooler. Yeah, I know. We could be like, here's what it's like to have a big ass parking garage because YouTube isn't stable income. What? What? Dude, thank you so much for your time.
No, dude, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Good to catch up with both of you guys.
Of course.
Yeah, man.
The Intercooler is available in the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store. Anywhere else? Where else? Can you go to theintercooler.com and get all the links? I imagine.
.co.uk. Theintercooler.co.uk. It's there.
.co.uk. Yeah, you got to go over to the fucking limey internet to get it. You can't get it on the fucking American internet. And of course, the Intercooler on the gram. If you want the light version. It's a good follow. That is free, and if you want to see maybe a little dip in the bucket without going full downloading the app, the gram is actually like reading a car magazine on the Intercooler. Oh, and the downloading link is on the Intercooler's bio on Instagram also. Tell Andrew that we said hello. Thank you for coming.
I will. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We got to get put me in touch with Henry. We got to get Catchpole on the show.
Yeah, I will. He's a good lad.
Yeah, can you make the connect? I met him on the side of the road once. He couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah, I will. If you get him on, make sure you ask him about the bowler that he was driving while I was in the passenger seat, and just get him to tell you what happened.
I mean, anything. Nothing good can start behind the wheel of a bowler with two Englishmen trying to impress each other.
Anytime someone says, ask about the story in the off-road machine.
Something happened. All I'll say is I ended up with literally blue testicles. I might have to fill that. Okay, I've gone public with it now.
Can't leave us hanging now.
I shouldn't have done. Sorry, Henry. He was driving a bowler that got inverted while I was in it. And it had a full harness, and you've got the belt through your legs.
Yeah.
That as we were upside down caused some damage.
No,
that sounds horrible. Do you still blame him for this damage? Is it lasting damage? Or are we okay now?
No, I mean, it was a few days. As far as I know.
A few days, woof. That's a scary few days.
Did someone have to write a long apology letter to Bowler? Or did Bowler have to write a long apology letter to you?
Well, they should have done. They didn't. But no, I think they were cool with it. I think it happens a lot.
Those are cool.
Another one's ended up on the roof. How are his balls? Okay, they're okay.
Recalled for ball damage.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, dude. We really appreciate it.
Good stuff. Thank you very
Great
much.
radio.
Cheers,
Dan Prosser of The Intercooler. That is our show. We appreciate you spending the time with us. Zach, when are we next live?
You and I are going to do a cruise show. I think we're going to do it this weekend.
Okay,
So
Saturday.
Probably Saturday.
Saturday.
We'll figure out the time and announce it on Instagram.
Yeah. Saturday cruise show, Q&A. Get down on it. Zach went racing at Sebring. He raced Lemons. I went to drive the Acura TLX Type S and the Boxster, and I'll have a Harley Davidson, and there's a whole bunch of things going on. And Dan, again, have a great rest of your evening, and thank you for joining us. Same to all the rest of you out
Thank you
there
very
in
much.
internet land. Peace.